Hello everybody, my name is Frigid Hyperion, and welcome back to the Wilds of Wildemount D&D campaign. I am joined, of course, by Lily, Quinn, Kyle, Rocky, Kale, and our lovely Dungeon Master, Emily.
Hello. Alrighty. Last time on Wilds of Wildemount, we went ahead and headed towards Port Damali to drop off the rescued refugees from the island of Pomoflora. Upon arrival there, and after a conversation that was had with um, Captain Three Earrings, you all decided to go pick up some experimental diving helmets from a smithy in Port Damali. Uh, After retrieving those under some shady means, you all made your way back onto the ship to set off towards the Shark Feather Abyss, where the Rod of Retribution lies in wait. You all have just boarded the ship. There is about 20 hours until you guys can make your way all the way back to the Shark Feather Abyss. Um, is there anything you would all like to do in the meantime?
Um, I'm going to head up to Miles, and I'm gonna say. So, I know we haven't been in a party for very long, but it seems like we're going out on our first mission. I'm a little jittery. Do you know anything that could help out with that?
Ah, well, that, my friend, is a good question. I've always found a good song, or to keep yourself preoccupied, as perhaps you would like to spare a little bit, or spar, rather. I'm sure we could find something that's makeshift on the ship, as far as perhaps a wooden weapon, or perhaps I could show you some of the tricks I know, as far as what I do in my spare time.
I think sparring might work for me. I don't really know how to fight, and well, any advantage I can get that'll help me get back to my boys in one piece, I think I should take.
I'll gladly take you up on that offer, my friend.
So, are you
So,
two going to start sparring?
yeah,
Yes.
What are we using to spar?
I'm going to find. Can I
What are you
look
playing?
around to try and find a basically a staff somewhere in the same size as my pitchfork, but obviously blunted so it can't deal, piercing damage and hurt someone?
Absolutely, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Uh, da, da, um, Character sheet. Oof,
Hmm.
not bad.
So, you you give yourself a moment to go ahead and look in the lower deck for anything resembling your pitchfork. You don't find anything that resembles it closely. However, you do find a quarterstaff. There's just there's a quarterstaff that is kind of tucked up against a barrel right about here. Um,
Nice.
there
That'll
doesn't
work.
doesn't appear to be any like markings on it. It's just basically a pole.
Nice. I will use that.
Yeah, Miles will look around for just like a dagger-sized block of wood, nothing crazy, and that's really about it. He's not really looking to actually strike back per se. I think what he's gonna try and do is he might jump out of the way and then probably just kind of hit him on the side, like bump him, like, oh, got you there, for this kind of stuff.
Okay, go ahead and roll investigation check to see if you can find something along those lines. Yeah, actually, you do find a small-ish stick. It was actually looks like to be one of the ballista bolts that at some point in time had broken in half. And it is, you get a chunk of it that is just over the, a little bit larger than, what you're normally used to with a dagger, but it would definitely do the job.
As we come back to the main deck for more room, I'm going to call to any party members essentially within eyesight. Essentially, I'm gonna say, "Hey guys, me and Miles are gonna spar for a bit. I'd really appreciate any pointers. I don't really know what I'm doing."
Is there any of you all that is on deck at the moment?
Oh, actually, Braun, did you see the one? I don't know.
Is this like right after we left off from last time, or is this? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, you guys
yeah,
are pulling out of Port Damali.
Yeah.
Wait, this is what?
Ludzik is up by the bow, just kind of staring out the water, and he'll kind of over here and be like, well, I have no. Eh, I have no idea on how to fight with a pitchfork per se, but this could be an interesting opportunity to learn and provide some feedback of my own.
Thank you. All right. And at that, I'm going to look at Miles and I'm going to say, "Are you ready?"
As ready as I'll ever be, my friend.
Alrighty. Go ahead and with your normal weapon of choice, just roll to hit. A 16 hit.
Give me one moment. 16 will hit.
Okay. You want to describe how you lunge forward, or are you? Do you want me to?
Taking the quarterstaff in both hands, I'm going to take a quick step forward and just jab at his stomach. Trying to avoid anything vital, but also not slowing down for the purposes of the sparring. It connects solidly, I'd say, and knocks him back, much to my surprise, as I wasn't actually expecting to hit him.
And your response, Miles?
Well done, my friend. Now, prepare yourself.
Damn!
With a nat 20,
Hmm.
you want to describe what you do?
So, I'm keen, and I seen that he had hit me, but I pointed out I was able to take the hit and, step back, and then as I had seen an opening, I look around and I put the dagger, or like the chunk of wood that I have, up to his throat, but it's not going to be threateningly, of course. I look at him and I go, "Good hit. I think I've got you on this one."
You watch him shudder. You watch Braum shudder.
Friend, this is why we're here to help each other.
It is. I just had a thought. Had you been an enemy, and I had made that mistake, I would never be able to see the end of my goal.
Ah, well, I'm very glad we're on the same side and we're getting this training in then.
Me too. Again?
Yes, take your shot. I'm ready.
Alright. Still, shaky from, the last... from the scare he just had. I'm going to backpedal as I swipe the staff through the air. Trying to gain space. But it's really heavily telegraphed and easily avoidable.
Miles, you, as he gets just a little bit close, you easily parry his attack with your makeshift weapon, just basically pushing it to the side. All right.
Good try, my friend, but not this time. At this point, Miles will take a dodge action, and I'll say, "Now, don't hold back. Give me everything you've got."
Sorry. I'm going to thrust forward again, trying to hit him with the same move I had hit him with the first time.
So, I believe it causes disadvantage. Am I correct about that? The dodge action?
Yeah, I can roll it again.
I believe so, yeah. Let me double check.
Okay.
Okay, so 13
Does a
is the
13?
lowest.
There's a 13 hit.
No, 13 does not hit.
All right.
Again, with readying yourself for the attack, Miles, he went to go towards the exact same area he did the first time, right in the middle of the abdomen, and you dodge your body just out of the way.
You said 23. Apology. 23 does hit.
No, 13 because it was with disadvantage.
Oh,
So I rolled
okay,
twice
okay.
to manually make disadvantage.
Oh. Yeah, that one. Sorry.
Moonsick, you're watching this entire encounter. Is there anything you would like to add?
If it is entirely possible, you need to try and put yourself in a position where you don't leave yourself as wide open after the stab or after your attack. It's good movements that you have, but it's just the positioning that is leaving you wide open, or perhaps just being prepared for a counterattack from the enemy. I know it is a lot to ask. It is a hard thing to pull off in a split second, but it is these very things that decide life and death on the battlefield.
Thank you. I'll try. And with that, I'm gonna step back. I'm going to take the dodge action. And I'm gonna say, let me try.
Okay. And with that, Miles, go ahead and roll to attack with disadvantage.
Okay. One.
Ooh!
Oh!
Ooh, nice.
Well,
think
no
that's
need
a-
to
You
roll
don't
the
have
other
to-
one.
No need to roll the other one. Do you
Real
want to describe
smooth.
between the two of you what happens, or would you like me to?
So, as Miles is getting closer, he kind of gets a little cocky because he thinks, farmer, he's not going to have very quick feet. I mean, come on now. And little does Miles know, happened to have been a brush that was laying in the way. And he didn't see said brush. So as he's going in for his attack, he tries to jump up into the air, and instead, before he jumps, he trips on the brush.
Brom is
And
going to rush forward as this is happening. He sees the trip, and he's going to grab on to Miles and hold him up.
Make a dexterity check. Go ahead and we'll say do a athletics check to see if you can rush up there and pick him up where he falls. You do so.
All right. Catching him. I say, I suppose you'd be in a vulnerable position, but it wouldn't be very honorable if I took advantage of my friend who just tripped on a brush.
oh, thank you, my friend. I'll definitely remember this for next time.
And I'm gonna say, now let's try this again.
Absolutely.
I'm going to re-enter my dodge.
Okay, disadvantage one more time.
Oof.
I'm sure both of those hit. Do you want to describe how you do it?
As I see him take the dodge action, I will kick the brush out of the way this time and go, okay. And you'll kind of see Miles refocus and kind of look down a little bit and then look up and start running. And as he notices the stance that Brahm is taking, he knows how to maneuver and knows what way Brahm is going to go and is going to not more like tap on the side of Brahm to where it's non-combat damage and stuff, so it doesn't hurt him. And goes, valiant effort, my friend, but not good enough. I'll tap him right on the side of the abdomen by like where the kidneys are and stuff.
As he taps me, I'm going to take my action to make an unarmed attack to attempt to grapple him. I know I don't have the grappler feat, but
You absolutely can.
You don't need the grappler feat. The grappler feat just lets you grapple and restrain and prevent enemies from attacking you while you're doing it.
But you can
It
still
just makes your
grapple.
grapple better. You can still take the grapple action.
okay. So, how do I do this actually?
It's a strength contest, right? So you roll a strength check, he rolls a strength.
No, but I have to hit him first.
No, you can do it as part of your attack, as a replacement for one of your attacks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an action.
Okay.
You don't have
it's
to
an
hit him.
action. I
Yeah.
don't have
It's
to
an
hit him.
action.
No,
So
You
it's
don't
a
have to
strength
hit him.
check.
Yeah.
Okay. athletics or just straight
No,
strength?
no. Strength. No,
Athletics.
you roll athletics if you try to escape a grapple. Or
It's
acrobatics.
the same. It's
Yeah.
You can roll athletics to grapple.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oof.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's in that one.
Do you want to describe to what you try to do here, or with that? Yeah.
You describe this one.
So he rushes forward to stab you right in the side with his makeshift weapon. You attempt to dodge away using kind of the momentum of his attack to rush to grab his shoulder, but you overestimate and you just grab right at thin air as he continues to make his way towards the left. Doing so, you end up tripping over the exact same brush he did, falling down.
No, it's the
I'm gonna
that one brush.
slide
That's what
on
we're gonna pull down.
the slick deck of the ship.
Miles is going to try to return the favor and try and catch him and help him up.
All right, go ahead and roll an athletics check. You do so, grabbing him just in the nick of time with the back of his collar.
Apologies on that pesky brush. Apparently, it does not seem to
That's
want
like
to
the
stay out of
only-
this fight.
I nod at Moonzik. I don't think I'm very good at not getting hit. And even less good at counter-attacking.
Well, that is something. From my understanding, you are a rather new fighter, are you not?
Only fights I have any experience in are the play fights me and my brother used to have.
Well, it all comes with experience, I suppose. Why? And he holds up his right hand along the index finger. There's a scar. This is what happened to me when I was young and learning the ways of the sword. It's a constant reminder that I have to stay vigilant.
Well, I think I should take a break for now. But, we have plenty of time before we get there. I'll be sure to come back for a few more rounds. And tell Anemo, he seems to have a similar fighting style as me, that I'd love to pick his brain about a few techniques.
That would be
So for character reasons, I need to ask, where is there how some ships have this thing at the top of like their
A
sails?
crow's nest?
A crow's nest?
Mm-hmm.
Does this one have that?
It does. It's on the mizzen.
Can I just be chilling there?
Go ahead and
Yes.
you can
You
either
would
do
be-
acrobatics
you
or
would be-
athletics.
You would be at
Acrobatic
full
check.
most
Let
up
me
in that
check.
crow's nest. That is.
And if you wanted,
It would be
to
if I
use-
succeed this, it would be as if I was always up there. By the way.
Yeah.
Athletics or acrobatics? Athletics is better, please. 18. That's good enough.
Yo.
You are absolutely up in that crow's nest.
Hell yeah.
What are you doing up
Oh
there?
yeah.
I'm closing my eyes and feeling the wind, brushing through my hair, just like really spread out as much as I can be in the crow's nest of the ship. Hearing the fighting down there, not really giving a fuck about it, but
Roll a perception check.
Sure.
What's that brush doing there?
Yo.
17.
You hear your name mentioned down below on deck.
Now I have two options. Either I float down there and use that action, or I climb down there. I'll just climb back down.
You got up there pretty easy. I'm sure you can get down just the same.
Okay, alright. I don't need to roll?
No.
Nice. I seem to have heard my name.
Yes, friend. Brom here was just wondering if perhaps, I don't know if now's a good time, but at some point if you two could spar to see if you can get an idea for how you fight, considering that you and he can share similar fighting styles.
Oh, absolutely. He takes out his metal knife, ready to fight.
Miles will look out and go, no, friend, no, and tosses him the dagger. We're not here to hurt.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
Okay, I was gonna stop short for sure. Anyway, definitely.
Give a man a wrong idea like that. I almost pulled out my dagger.
Well, if you're too tired, then of course we don't have to do this now.
Brom's going to feel his aching muscles from the sparring. I'm going to assume we went for far more than just the 3 rounds.
Yeah, you sparred for a bit.
And he's going to think about it, and then he's going to ignore them and say, I've worked 12-hour days out in the field of hard labor. I will be fine.
All right. Yeah, all right.
So you
Just
guys are
doing
now sparring?
We're now sparring. I don't want this to take up too much time though.
Before we go too far, I'm actually gonna ask what Wind Chime and Edward are doing at the moment.
We can just say, sorry. We can just say we're sparring. We don't have to roll anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Wind Chime and Edward?
Actually, Wintram has a question for Edward.
Yes.
Edward's around.
Yeah. What's the what could you possibly be pondering over?
Oh, I have lots to ponder about. But you know words, right? You know about words?
You know words, right?
Say that I'm well versed with literature. Yes.
So, remember when we were fighting over the letter about whether to open it or not and read it before we gave it to the man for these fish tanks for our heads? I was looking over his shoulder when he opened the letter and I saw a word. But I don't know what it means.
What particular word was?
Revelry.
Pardon?
Revelry.
Revelry.
The revelry.
I mean, revelry generally tends to mean sort of a state of partying. if I
Go ahead
recall.
and roll a history check.
History check. Ooh, okay. Ooh, this is weird because like, what if this is like a cult? I'm just saying, could be a cult or
Could
something.
be. So definitely could be.
Could be. That's a 12.
Man, it's on the tip of your tongue. You definitely recognize the word out as an organization, but it's a little bit out of your reach.
I mean, party
It's familiar.
fun.
I mean, yes, revelry does generally associate with having fun and having parties.
So everything should be good, right?
Not really quite sure. I mean, like, I'm sure that the particular word in question isn't really supposed to be something more of a party as much as it is possibly an organization. Can't really quite recall it now, but I'll record it down in the journal. Maybe I'll probably look into it back when we hit to the mainland.
Maybe that's where they met. They met at a party.
That could entirely be a possible prospect. Not quite sure.
Where are you guys having this conversation?
Below the deck, I'm assuming.
Like, where you guys have been sleeping?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Notebook. Let me just open my book. Is that all? Are there any more particular things you'd like to discuss?
Nope, those were the only 2 words I saw. If I had seen more, I would tell you.
Just revelry.
The revelry.
I mean, the entire word "the" putting behind it implies there's some sort of connotation that itself is an organization rather than just any old party that they're hosting.
They could be reacting to it.
Or maybe if it's not an organization, it's some particular event. I know that's generally the nature of the parties, but they could possibly be talking about some sort of event. Not really quite sure.
Is there anything else you all are going to do or talk about?
I mean, hmm.
What time of day is it right now, currently?
Around noon.
Okay.
You guys haven't, at this point in time, you arrived at Port Damali fairly early in the morning, a couple hours after sunrise. Had an hour docked, basically, since you guys are back. So you can, the sun is high in the sky and beating pretty hard down the back of your necks. It is hot. The wind is tense, and it wicks away any sort of sweat that you have developed.
As the sun reaches its peak in the sky, I'm gonna yell in the middle of our sparring. Pause.
Yeah, you see. Yeah, fine.
Breathing
You do-
heavily, you can see Brum lean over and say, "The sun's beating down on me. It'll start to exhaust us pretty quickly if we continue this. Let's get some shade, and let's take a break until the sun is lower in the sky."
You kind of see Anemo just kind of he's just kind of like massaging himself. He doesn't really look like he's tired though. He's just like he's he's just like a little sore. But yeah, he'll be like, well, whatever you think is best.
At this
Understood.
particular...
But
No. Nothing. You finish first.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you first. Oh.
at this particular moment, I was just gonna chime in on their stuff and say, well, it isn't really that tiresome. But even watching you guys has brought on a little bit of sweat.
I cannot disagree with that.
In all the right places.
Mm.
I cannot disagree with that. With all that sparring, I kind of wanted to jump in a couple times myself, but this is practice for you guys, specifically for Brahm. So I will restrain myself, at least for now.
Restraint.
Do you think I have a chance of surviving this?
Oh, more than just a little chance, my friend.
He speaks
Thank
the
you.
truth.
You've got what most adventurers don't have. A great party.
I do, don't I?
You do.
Thank you, all of you, for your advice. I'm sure it'll help.
Though I am curious, if we're going to be under the water, is that going to mean that we're going to be unable to speak to each other?
We should try on the helmets, see what happens.
Well, it's not just the helmets themselves, but also the fact that we're going to be speaking through volumes of liquid at a time. I'm not sure if any kind of sound is going to reach each other's ears within...
Well, even if it doesn't, I'm sure just visual cues will be fine. And more than that, we can make a good plan beforehand. Just everybody must stick to it.
That's right. Perhaps
How are
later
we
on this
gonna-
evening, before we all head to bed, we can get together and perhaps think of some important gestures. I've never kind of dealt with something like this before, so I'm not learned in these kind of things.
Leonard.
One problem I have is, I don't know how to swim. How are we going to get past that problem?
My friend, I have that problem as well.
With the ability to breathe underwater, I suppose I could walk on the floor, but... Would you toss down a weighted rope? And we would climb out that way?
That is one possibility, and I'm sure with the crew and 3 earrings, I'm sure they would want to be able to have the ability to bring us back up at a moment's notice, lest they lose out on their bounty. He kind of fidgets at saying that, as if uncomfortable with the idea.
At this moment, we'll go back to Edward. Are you peeking your head out on deck, or what are you doing?
I mean, I was gonna say earlier that he's going to recast Find Familiar. This time, instead of having it take the shape of a bird, gonna have it take the shape of a fish. He's just gonna like poke out, like he's gonna like poke out of his head on the deck with like his spell book ready, about to like summon a fish. And then he just kind of looks over by the door, kind of sees a bunch of sweaty dudes, literally just sitting in the corner, right? Like, his party, just like, covered in sweat, kind of sitting in the corner, listening to Moonsick talk about not being able to talk underwater. And then he's gonna be like, what happened? You guys look like you kind of fell over the deck there. You're all covered in water.
Sorry. Knees are weak, arms are sweaty. Sparring practice is heavy.
Yo, what are we having for lunch today? I hope it's spaghetti.
No, what are we having for lunch then? With that, Heidi comes up from the deck. We're having spaghetti for lunch!
Oh, why does that all tie together so well? If only you could see me staring intently into the camera.
Yes, you all are poets, and you don't even know that you have the ability to be poets.
My rhymes don't
Yes,
cost
the
a dime,
famous
my friend.
legendary poet, M.M. I mean, that's his initials anyway.
MMM. First name, middle name, last name,
God.
MMM. Alright.
Rocky, go ahead and make a intelligence check.
Okie dokie. Intelligence check.
They're really low DC. It's okay. There's still a chance. So.
Whoops! I accidentally rolled it.
So you know that when you do take the moment it is to turn Cole into his his fishy form, that he, if you were to say, toss him overboard, he wouldn't be able to keep up with the ship. So
Would be able to
until
keep him. I would be able to keep him in like the weird spirit nether
yes,
realm
you
thing
would
with
be able to keep
and
him in
then
the
he could stay
Feywilds.
relative to the same speed as me,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
That
so
way,
you can
like
keep
once we
him.
do,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can keep him in your pocket dimension, for sure. But until that point, you know that probably just tossing him overboard is a bad idea.
yeah. So he's gonna kind of sit there in meditation for a little bit. He's gonna be like, "Okay, guys, whatever you guys are doing, try to keep it down a little bit. I'm going to make a little helper that will probably help us for the upcoming adventure that we're going to be having." And then he's just gonna sit there, meditate for 10 minutes to do the ritual casting.
Windchime, what are you doing?
Um, I come. Windchime comes up onto the deck behind Edward and sees everybody, and then she gives him a scolding look. You better not be hurting each other.
On the contrary, they're helping me survive.
Did they throw you overboard?
No, they've been teaching me the finer points of combat. How to counter, repose, I believe is what you called it earlier, Miles?
Yes, that would be correct. Something my grandparents taught me, when I was a little younger. My grandfather knew very well how to use a rapier and how to juggle. Therefore, being able to be nimble and quick.
He could juggle a rapier?
Oh, yes. Very well, too. My grandfather was quite the man. And then they settled down, and, well, needless to say, that's another story for another time, my friend.
He sounds like a wonderful man. Family
He truly
tree
is.
is so important.
And he's still very much alive and well to this day.
That's awesome. I wish my grandfather was still around.
I got parents too. That's awesome. Which my parents were still. Sorry.
At that moment, you see Miles shudder. And like you struck some form of a nerve. And he just kind of seizes up a little bit and goes, "Yes, Perrin."
Mention parents.
Also,
I'm
through this
messing
conversation,
grandparents.
you hear a very loud sigh from Edward before another spout of silence again. There it is.
We should probably be quiet. I don't really want to affect his.
Oh, my friend, it's quite alright. Just a bad memory.
Well, of course. I don't really have many bad memories of parents only because they weren't really around very much, let's say.
Ah, you see, I have very fond memories of mine. I love them all so much. You'll see her pause and just kind of stop. And just drop it.
You want to have a drink?
No, my
Can I
friend.
hear
But I appreciate the offer.
I think that I might. I'm gonna go look for some alcoholic beverage.
Okay.
Rum?
Go ahead and roll a
Investigation.
investigation check. Pretty low. Pretty easy to find.
Oh!
Where it could possibly be.
You turn around and look about the deck of the ship, and it just comes over you that you have no idea where anything on this ship is. First with the fishing rod, but anything that would be like that.
Yeah.
Second with the alcohol. You have no idea like where to even begin. You kind of twiddle your thumbs and kind of like pull air through your teeth and look about.
My friend, check the kitchen. Perhaps there's some in there. We were cooking the other night.
He snaps his fingers. Oh, of course, the kitchen. Why didn't I think of that?
But, of course, do you know where the kitchen is?
I mean,
Of
I went
course
to
he
the
does.
kitchen.
We were cooking the other night.
Your point being... you gotta give the playful smile.
It's up to the DM if I remember where that.
I think you were literally just there. The ship is small. Although on your way there, you do accidentally open the wrong door. Whoops.
I do know where it is. Thank you. Me talking to a random crew member that's when I opened the wrong door.
Random crew member.
Random crewmate? Sup? Alright.
Whoa.
Sus?
I don't know, that sounds a little bit like an Among Us reference.
Among Us? Nah.
Hey, want to play New Age Among Us? It's like old Among Us, but we laugh when somebody says the name. Truly the peak of comedy.
What name? Name of what?
Among Us.
Imposter.
You make your way into the galley where you do see again a familiar face, Kajori, the cook that was that you helped with the other night. He's in there basically prepping some looks to be like salted meat and some hard biscuits with like a little. He's stirring a pot with some sort of how do you say it? There's some sort of grain, like a barley or an oat. But he notices you as you walk in. Why, hello there. Back to help for lunch?
Well, I mean, do I get some booze out of it?
Make a persuasion check then. Let's see if
Whoa.
he'll offer up his alcohol.
That's what we call
Dude,
Oh
infused.
my
come
god!
2 ones in a row! What are you doing to me?
Animo is not at home on the sea.
He's not feeling it today. I'm feeling it when I'm not doing anything with people. Alright?
I'm really feeling it.
Yup.
He smiles at you and says, well, it's a little bit early in the day to be drinking. We've still got a long voyage ahead of us, and we gotta keep the goods as they should.
He's gonna mutter, so you're telling me on a pirate ship they don't drink at noon? Oh my god.
His eyes narrow, and he says, Well, we're not a pirate ship.
Okay,
stops
so
a little.
what is your main business?
Oh, we travel goods back and forth. Merchant.
Independent
Ah, I see. And where do you get these goods from?
Cities and ports and things.
Cities and port. Okay, yes. So you have people that you sell to, of course, and you have suppliers.
Yes.
Yes, the random citizens that are along your way. I'm pretty sure you guys are pirates.
Oh my god!
Wow. Okay.
What the hell?
Make a
Oh.
persuasion check?
Oh no!
Persuasion.
What?
No! Oh, come on!
just
You
convinced
said that
them that they're
after I got
pirates.
the nat 20.
Oh my god!
What the
Oh my god!
Oh, okay. Well, 2 nat ones followed by
This
new
is
2 nat ones.
crazy!
Oh my
What?
I've
gosh.
never seen this in my
Oh,
life!
roll 20, you
Oh
salty
my
bitch.
god!
Bro, I bet the brush has something to do with this. It's literally the brush has something to do with this. I don't know what it is, but it's the brush.
That's amazing.
You see him stop stirring pot. And he has a look of serious confusion on his face. And says, "Pirates. I never thought about it before like that. We're pirates. Huh. Huh.
That's good.
My god.
Am I
We're
a bad
pirates.
person?
I would have assumed
His
that you
eyes,
would known.
his eyes get really like kind of like big, and you see like I even be on this ship?
I come over and I pat him on the back. Don't even worry. I'm sure that everybody else on the ship has the same feelings.
I figured if I had been on a pirate ship, I would have known about it until this moment. I've been on this ship for like nearly 2 years.
This man's having a fucking existential crisis. What am I supposed to do?
Meanwhile, the pot that he was stirring is now boiling over.
I'm gonna say that that's true, and then try and like help him stir. Okay, and I just kind of be stroking his back, trying to help him
Manhandle that
through.
ladle.
Start stirring,
As you start
manhandling
stirring the
ladle.
pot, he goes and he says, I think I need a minute.
Oh
And he sits down in the corner with his head between his knees, and in deep in thought.
no! Oh my god! Quinn just... And the Animo just roped himself into making lunch.
Fuck.
I mean, that doesn't even matter on the grand scheme of things. What really matters in the grand scheme of things is that they're pirates.
So true. Well, actually, what really matters in the grand scheme of things is that they don't know that they're pirates.
Am I a bad person?
It was at that moment you
Bad
spotted a
person.
bottle
My
of
bad
rum
person.
and an eye patch sitting around on the random ship.
You know what? With that, he is going to grab a bottle of rum, and he's gonna offer you some after he takes a big ol' swig.
Thank you, my boy.
Was he saying yo ho ho in a bottle of rum?
Not yet. Not yet.
He's not quite there yet. He needs to figure out where his loyalties
Yar,
lie.
fiddle dee dee.
Being a pirate is alright with me.
No, he's not quite at the being a pirate is alright with me part. He's at the yar har fiddle dee dee part.
There's two options, guys. Either I get really low rolls, really high. Actually, you know what? After this, it's all luck.
Oh no.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
Now,
Override your roll
Speaking
with
of
a
that,
6.
Go ahead and either roll a performance or survival check.
Oh,
Which one's better? Performance.
wisdom or charisma?
I almost got one.
oh damn.
Not nat 20, but still a 20.
Jeez.
Man.
You like take over in the kitchen, and you actually end up taking the bottle of rum and kind of like pouring it into the pot a little bit to add some flavor. And it ends up like this pot of porridge basically. It smells fucking good. Like it's surprisingly appetizing for it literally being just grain.
Amazing.
And in short order, it is lunch is done.
All right, everybody. The chef's kind of he's you know, he's having a moment, but you know I have your lunch for you.
Yo.
All to.
Oh, are we singing? Are we starting a tune?
He's been drinking this whole time and very quickly like yeah.
Growing a beard as we speak.
He has a beard actually. This is
Oh, he's already there.
Yeah, it's this guy.
As a side note, I didn't mention this earlier, but if you look at the if you look in your journal tab, all of the Wave Chaser crew and captain are in are there for you guys to access and read the information that you all have gathered basically while they've been here. So, yeah, if you have any questions about who these people are.
Yeah.
So, upon everybody grabs their bowls with a nice hard biscuit, and some salted fish on top, and you enjoy a pretty decent lunch. It's pretty good, actually. You really enjoy it. It's simple and filling.
Thanks. I'd say I did a pretty good job.
Thank you, Anemo. You truly are a man of many talents.
Yes.
I wonder what
Traversing
happened to the regular cook.
my environments is the most effective I am. Sorry,
I
what?
wonder what happened to the regular cook. I mean, it's nice to see your talent getting showcased here, but wonder what happened to the other one.
We had a long conversation that ended with him. As I said, you know, he's having a moment. I feel like being left alone is probably best for him at the moment.
Wow, that's a good friend thing to do.
I am curious at what events going to transpire that he took a moment away from his cooking duties.
Well, I mean, I was there. I'm sure that if I hadn't taken over,
He's just gonna talk himself into a corner.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to take some time for yourself. It's so nice of you to be able to take over his shift so that he could take a little break. You know, have a little rest, have some alone time for him own.
yeah, I would. Yeah, of course. You know, I would do it for any of you.
He's very thankful about that.
So when it comes to giving out pointers for sparring later, you can take that over for me.
Um, if it's required, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't do it yourself.
That's wonderful. I was thinking about going and staring out over the sea a bit more.
Are you saying you need a mental health break?
Well, I'm sure you all are having fun with this.
Mental health is very serious. I wouldn't joke about such things.
Is
Me, an Emo.
is that what happened to Kijori over there?
As I said, he needed a moment. Can we move on from the cook, please? All right. I think I did a fine job. I don't know why people are still on this. Okay.
We're congratulating you for being for graciously taking over so that he could take a little time for himself.
Well, I
We
take the
really
compliment.
appreciate him.
Thank you.
You're a good person, you know that.
I think that I'm going to go onto the what is it called again? The thing on top of the
Crow's
the
nest.
crow's nest, and then he just gets up immediately and walks away.
He just takes his bowl with
Um,
him.
Yeah, just say I'll take my bowl with me. Why not? Unless that
You,
gives me-
after like announcing dinner for, excuse me, lunch for the crew, in trickling in, everybody kind of goes and takes their plates. You notice first, Heidi goes into the galley area, and you all are basically just outside the galley, just kind of chilling below deck, eating your food, doing your thing. And what actually, I don't actually have this information. What is everybody's passive perception?
Where can you tell that?
12.
I have a 13.
It's usually just your perception modifier plus 10.
If you look
unless
under
you're,
all your
like,
stats
more-
and stuff and all your skills, it should say it. So left-hand side of the
12.
Yeah, mine is 13.
Passive perception is 11.
Okay. And 12? Okay. Okay. Moonzik. You hear faintly in the galley, the kitchen area, hushed conversation. Nothing that would necessarily pique your interest, but you definitely know that conversation is happening in there.
If there's anything I love more than more than gambling, it's a good hushed conversation.
Conversations about gambling, anyone?
Gentlemen,
I wonder
if
what
you'll
that's all about.
Gentlemen, if you'll excuse me for just a couple moments.
You need to go to the bathroom? Was the soup bad?
No. It's good. It's good soup. It's always good soup.
Good soup.
I need to excuse myself.
Ah, that makes two of us, my friend.
Are you going to walk into the galley?
I'm going to walk to the galley into a position where I can listen in, but not necessarily be spotted.
Okay, so you're gonna basically put your ear up to the door?
Yeah.
Make a stealth check.
Ooh. Okay.
So, you hear the raised voice of, not raised, but the urgent voice of Kijori, talking with who you assume is Heidi, 'cause she's the only other one who you saw walk in there. And you hear him say, you mean to tell me that we are pirates? And Heidi says,
This is going really fucking far. It was just a conversation I had.
Heidi says, look, excuse me, look, how do you forget how to do this? I can do it any other time except for when I need to talk as her.
Scottish accent.
You understand that. I'm just gonna go British. Understand that it is complicated. It does not mean what you think it does. It is. There are negative connotations around the word. Okay. We are pirates. Like, we have been on this crew for literally 2 years, and nobody bothered to tell me. And Heidi says, honestly, it is Kajori, you have been with us to Dark Toe. You have to understand. You have seen everything. How did you not put the pieces together until now? Kajori doesn't say anything. And your foot kind of like creaks a little bit on the floorboard after just a moment. And in that little bit of silence, Heidi says, "Look, if you have any more questions, go talk to the captain. Okay?" Alrighty. I guess I can go talk to her. And Heidi starts to come out of the room. You do hear her start to make her way towards the door.
And Moonzik is going to try and make it seem like he was just
away.
walking past on his way over to the dining table.
Okay. She opens the door and sees you walking past. Gives you a curt nod and heads up to her spot at the helm.
Moonzik is going to go sit down at the table next to everyone else, and I don't know if Miles is back yet or not.
No, Miles is still gone.
Okay. He sits down and he says, "Well, that was quite an interesting conversation I overheard."
Oh?
Kajori was, confused on the fact that he never knew that, he was a pirate. Oh, and by the way, apparently the crew considers themselves to be pirates, he kind of says in a hushed voice.
Well, yeah, of course.
Well,
What, was that not obvious?
he says, well, I had my suspicions, but it wasn't plainly said, so I couldn't assume too much. But it's interesting now that they kind of dropped the ball a little bit without them knowing that they've dropped the ball.
Looks like you dropped the ball.
Which makes the conversation between Gijori and Animo all the more interesting.
We're not letting you live that down now.
He's not even here. He's in the crow's nest.
I know. I'm talking out of character here.
Yeah.
Which I know I don't normally do, but like...
I break character all the time. I need to stop doing that.
But it's funny. See, I just did it right now. Broke character.
And then
Is there anything else you guys would like to do?
Miles is upstairs, but that'll take that segment's not going to take very long. It'll be very, very brief.
I'm just up on the crow's nest, feeling the wind.
In the weight of your sins.
Oh, weight of my
Miles,
sins.
what are you doing again? I couldn't quite hear what you were saying.
So Miles is up on the deck right now. He is while they were eating lunch. Still, he was going up to the captain's quarters, seeing if
Okay.
Three Rings was in her quarters.
You give the door to the captain's quarters a little knock, 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 and you hear her say, "Come in."
And I'll knock open the door. Good afternoon, my dear. How do you happen to be faring today?
Let's see here. Yes, I am doing quite well today. I am a little bit excited and a little bit nervous for the next day's proceedings. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, of course, of course. Just wanted to talk to you about our conversation we had, and just wanted to let you know I'm gonna take you up on your offer, I think.
Ah, very nice. I am so glad to hear that. I didn't doubt it for at least a second. I'm happy to have you aboard.
Hi, thanks, Captain. Just one small thing. I may have been caught by one of your crewmen snooping, per se. I was just making sure for not so much your end of the bargain, but perhaps our party's end of the bargain, that nothing had been spilled. So I'll come clean to you now.
Yes.
Oh,
And
I was just...
you were. Tell me a little bit about what you were snooping in. And she gives you a little bit of furrowed eyes. I mean, I appreciate coming forth and telling me.
Just making sure nothing on our end was going awry.
And what were these circumstances?
Well, of course, between you and I, of course, things would be quiet. It wasn't you I was worried about. But my party, on the other hand, has become increasing curious.
So, should we be here?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
I understand.
So your crewman, I had to tell that you and I had a little deal. Him and I are supposed to face off tonight, but I am warning you. If anything is said by him and I lose, well, I will deal with my consequences as they are, and he is to come and tell you that he caught me snooping.
Huh? I assume this is with Boris?
Oh, yes, of course.
Always a gambler, that one. I really ought to talk to him. Would you go find him and tell him to come to me?
Sure, lass. Gladly. I just wanted to let you know. My party is on to you.
On my ship, you can call me Captain, she says with a sharp-toothed grin.
And Miles with a very, how do you say, smug grin says, "Aye, aye, Captain."
Please, go get aboard.
You've got it. And he'll even go and get, bored.
You lead him back, and the door closes, and you do hear an explicit lock of the door as he enters.
Miles will rub his hands together. Ooh, this is gonna be fun.
And what are you doing now?
I'm meeting back with the, I'm actually gonna see if there's anybody around.
Everybody is around. Who are you looking for? You are on a ship.
many-
There's really not that much space.
I know there's not. How many people are actually paying attention, though, that I just came out of the captain's
To-
quarters?
Are you going about stealthily?
Yes.
If you're going about stealthily, then you need to roll a stealth check.
Dean,
As far
Not
as
good.
you know,
Okay.
nobody has seen you.
Listen to the door real quietly again.
Okay. I know I'm asking you to roll again, but go ahead and roll a perception check. You can't catch anything.
Ooh,
At this point, I will just kind of realize I can't hear anything. Will make my way out quietly enough.
Back down below deck where your friends are.
Yes.
You guys see Miles join the group one more time. Of course, Anemo is not present. He's up enjoying his meal in the crow's nest. Birds.
Right.
Feeling the wind in his hair.
That's
His
right.
luscious locks.
and
My luscious
Actions.
locks,
His
indeed.
mane.
My mane.
So, how's everybody's lunch?
you just came from the captain quarters, didn't you?
We don't
What?
know that.
How?
No,
Oh,
you don't know
okay.
that.
Oh wait, never mind. I thought never mind.
We don't know that.
No, whoops! I mixed the perception with the stuff. Yep, never mind. I didn't.
Have we found out anything fun today, anybody? What have I missed?
Well,
I
Kijori,
just
the
had to
cook,
think-
is
Oh,
having
really?
a bit of an existential crisis on somehow the
What's this
discovery
about an
that he's
existential
actually
crisis?
a pirate.
I mean, isn't that obvious?
I couldn't hear between two of you talking.
He said,
Does that-
Cameron, go first, and then Edward, and then Lily.
well, Kijori was having an existential crisis on supposedly the discovery that he's a pirate, though I don't know how he didn't know that.
Wasn't that blatantly obvious?
Wait, guys,
That's what we've been saying.
does that mean we are also pirates?
No, it means
no.
we are pirate co-conspirators.
Yeah, what he
Oh.
said.
Well,
Ah,
now hold on.
Now, just because one person says they're pirates doesn't mean they're necessarily pirates.
Just
Well-
because they're pirates doesn't
Well,
mean they're
we're
pirates,
also-
if you
we're
know what
also
I'm saying.
Using the word pirates with its negative connotations, which is what Heidi, who was talking with Kijori, didn't want to have attached to them.
does
For-
it have positive connotations?
Ouch.
Anybody who is curious as to how, what this word means, go ahead and roll an intelligence or history check, whichever you feel necessary.
Alright, one.
I'd like to know the connotation we have.
Well, either way,
Well,
it's
it's
the
an
same
18
exact
in
roll,
this
so I'm
world.
going for intelligence on that. 19!
Would it be like a
okay.
history roll?
History or intelligence, whichever one you want.
Oh!
Oh,
Okay.
I have a +6 to my history, and all of you guys got higher rolls.
So here is what you first notice, Edward. Edward, you know that that piracy in itself is bad. People typically do not identify as pirates, as they are. You know that people don't self-identify as pirates. Moonzik, you know all of that, and that most like sailors and ships are not pirates. That is very explicitly different. Not all sailing vessels are pirates. That is, pirates specifically are people who plunder and steal things, and are thieves, typically understood. Brom,
Really wet thieves plundering booty.
you, weirdly enough, there is something that your great grandfather once passed down, whatever, about pirates, and it was a story that they told you as a kid.
Hey, Emily?
Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I have an emergency call I have to take. I'm gonna need 15 minutes, okay? I'm so sorry.
15-minute break?
I guess
Yeah.
we can take a 15-minute break.
All right, this is where I will pause the video, and we will pick up with part 2 in just a little bit.